ECW Anarchy Rulz, because misspellings are extreme. Anyway, Acclaim released a sequel to Hardcore Revolution for the PlayStation and Dreamcast, no N64 this time, in August of 2000. Yes, it came out a whopping 6 months after Hardcore Revolution. That's the shortest turnaround time for a sequel I've ever heard of. I've said before how wrestling companies can change quickly, but I don't think anyone was pining for a new game that fast. With the short turnaround time between releases, not surprisingly, the roster is basically the same as Hardcore Revolution, with a few exceptions. The Sandman and Mikey Whipwreck made their way back from WCW, and Masato Tanaka makes a cool addition to the game. The Prodigy is here too, and it took me about an hour to remember who he was. But the most notable addition is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Remember his early 2000 ECW run? To the best of my knowledge, this is the first video game in which he was a playable character, which is just weird. I know he retired in early 1991, when WCW and the WWF hadn't put out many games yet, but you think he would have popped up somewhere in the 90s. Naturally, given he was a manager in WCW vs. NWO Revenge, and then later showed up in WWE's Legends of WrestleMania game, you could say he appeared in games for ECW, WCW, and the WWE. If you go through career mode, you can unlock hidden characters, basically jobbers and folks like Bill Alfonso and Jim Molyneux. Apparently you can also unlock beloved tape seller Rob Feinstein and Gabe Sapolsky. Yes, get Gabe in the ring and get some payback for having to watch The Hangman 3. The game box actually touts new controls, and while that's a misnomer, Acclaim actually did make some changes for the better. In Hardcore Revolution, you could basically start out doing any moves you wanted, like power bombs and brainbusters. But now the moves are based on low, medium, and high damage. You can only start out doing low damage moves, like hip tosses and body slams, before moving on to more impactful moves. In that regard, it's kind of like, and heaven help me for saying this, Fire Pro, since the match is now built in a logical manner. The earlier moves are somewhat simplified, in the sense that it's only right and triangle to do a hip toss instead of right triangle. But the bigger moves are still the same combos, and moving your wrestler is still a pain in the ass, but credit to Acclaim for finally changing something. Options are certainly plentiful, although some are downright odd and have nothing to do with ECW. I mentioned I didn't think much of the barbed wire match in Hardcore Revolution, but there were famous barbed wire matches in ECW, and it certainly was a stipulation unique to the company. And there are stiffs in Anarchy Rulz, like the backlap brawl where you fight in the back of the arena, or table matches where, well, you use a lot of tables. And these matches at least somewhat capture the spirit of ECW. And then they throw in a dumpster match, where you throw your opponent to a dumpster to win. Remember all those great dumpster matches in ECW? There's something called a hate match, where you face 3 opponents at once, and if you eliminate someone else takes their place until you go through 15 opponents. It's nothing but an exercise in frustration, albeit aptly named since I certainly hated playing it. And then there's Rage in the Cage, where the match takes place in a UFC-style octagon on what appears to be a dirt floor. What? First off, you have a match like this and you don't include Paul Varlanes as a hidden character. Second, you actually jump off the top of the octagon, something I've been dying to see in ECW for years. And then there's the famous Brimstone Match. The ring is surrounded by hot rocks and lava, and the goal is to throw your opponent over the top into the magma, at which point they scream in agony and explode into a ball of fire. To be fair, that is pretty extreme. ECW got in enough trouble using fire in the ECW arena. How they got that past Frank Talent? Career mode is back, and they thankfully shortened it. They also added a multiplayer feature, and also a stable career. You can take a pre-selected group of 4 wrestlers, or make your own, and then you can choose who you use in certain matches. It's actually a pretty decent idea, though it's not terribly fleshed out here. All you do is try to win the stable title, whatever that is. But if you made a storyline mode, try to capture titles, maybe recruit members, kick others out, that sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Graphics are largely the same as Hardcore Revolution. Since ECW used actual popular music instead of creating their own in-house, there are a lot of knockoff songs, which is unfortunate but unavoidable. There is some licensed music, so if you're a fan of dope, well, this is a game for you. Commentary is now handled by Joey Styles and Joel Gertner. Whenever I played, there would be long periods of silence before Joel piped in with a well, for no good reason. I think the game's a bit better than Hardcore Revolution, but still no great shakes. I don't know if it's rare, but it'll set you back around 10 to 20 bucks on eBay, but I wouldn't bother. If you're a die-hard ECW fan, you're better off just creating old ECW guys in WWE 13 or something. And that's all they wrote for ECW, since the company went out of business less than a year later after the game's release. It did resurface later on the SmackDown vs. Raw series, when ECW was resurrected by the WWE. I bet if whoever makes the next WWE game put in an old ECW mode like the Attitude Era option, WWE 13, they do a good job and it'd be pretty fun. Although clearly the Attitude Era has a lot more commercial appeal. Thanks for watching, and remember, winner is you.
It's New Day, the street fighter for the funk. And I'm about to funk you up with my 187 pump. Now bring me my trash hand. New Day.
for you. Go to the brand new interactive PZWrestling.com. Catch up on episodes you may have missed, check out exclusive photos and videos on our Facebook, and join in on the conversation on Twitter and get a free DVD. For all that and much more, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, PZWrestling.com. It's a .com.